Alright guys, welcome to Flav Oriana's MMA show. I'm your host Flav Oriana, brought to you by Four Corner Sports. Alright guys, so there's been rumors going on Sean O Malley having a fight either at UFC 267 or UFC 268, and it looks like the UFC wants to push into the direction of Sean O Malley on wanting to fight Frankie Edgar. Now Frankie Edgar has been a long proponent. He has been a staple in the UFC for quite some time, since I think dating back to like 2008, if I'm not mistaken, 2009, somewhere along that time frame. But yeah, the answer might be having to face Sugar Sean O'Malley, which that's a fight that I'm actually looking forward to. Last time we saw Frankie Edgar was in February. I believe that was the card where Alexander Volkov fought Alistair Overeem. Frankie Edgar was in the co-main event against Corey Sandhagen, and that fight only ended up lasting about at least a minute and 5 seconds when Corey Sandhagen ended up landing that flying knee, knocking out Edgar out cold. Now that was one of the cleanest knockouts, one of the cleanest knee shots I've seen since the Jorge Masvidal flying knee that he ended up delivering towards Ben Askren. But guys, now that we haven't seen Edgar fight since February, we're now already in August, and they're now even debating on having him fight in November or December against Sugar Sean O'Malley. Now, this is huge for both parties, and this is why I'm going to say it's huge. It's huge because of the fact that you're going to have Frankie Edgar. He needs to redeem himself. Unfortunately, with his resume, him being a former lightweight champion, him being a former title contender, a title challenger actually at the featherweight division, and then him trying to fight for another chance at a title at bantamweight, because he's trying to find different avenues on him trying to be able to get down and to getting himself in position for a title shot. This might be the possibility, if Edgar is able to bounce back huge against Sugar Sean O'Malley. If this fight even takes place, then we're going to look at Frankie Edgar like, all right, cool. You're back you're most likely going to be inside the top 5. You're most likely going to be fighting your way back into a title contention, because Sugar Sean O'Malley is such a huge name. Look what happened when Marlon Chito Vera ended up beating Sean O'Malley. All right, now you can, whatever you want to say, the controversy, the leg kick, the nerve. All right, and it ended up making O'Malley go down to the floor. All right, it is what it is. It is not that much controversy in my mind, because of the fact that, look, those things tend to happen. It wasn't an illegal groin strike. It wasn't a poke, an eye poke, or any of that nature. And that landed Marlon Chito Vera of December of last year, a fight against the King of Rio, Jose Aldo. Now, Vera looked great in the third round, but did not look great in the first 2 rounds. And Jose Aldo ended up winning the fight because of, Vera was a slow starter, and there's just levels of Jose Aldo at bantamweight and Marlon Chito Vera at bantamweight. But if Frankie Edgar is able to capitalize on a victory over Sean O'Malley, then this is going to put him back into the mix on fighting another big name, getting him one step closer to getting a title shot. But in the Sean O'Malley camp, I can say this: if he's able to beat up on Frankie Edgar, all right, considering the resume that O'Malley has, beat up Jose Quinones, beat up Eddie Wineland, lost to Marlon Chito Vera. Okay, he ended up beating what's it called? Forgot the kid's name. He ended up fighting him at UFC 260. Thomas Almeida. He ended up defeating him. Now he ended up defeating Chris Moutinho, who he actually made Chris Moutinho look like a star, because of the fact that Moutinho had that that mentality of always walking him down, walking forward, eating a whole bunch of shots, and then trying to fight back. All right. So O'Malley has that superstardom. What's it called? That superstardom that carries him over, where he can make you look, become a big star, or if he beats on you, then he's one step closer on getting where he wants to be, fighting at the highest point of the card, facing the lowest ranked opponent. All right, he's following that Chael Sonnen rule. Okay, and I get it. He's also had an interview not that recently where he had said that the reason why he has no interest on fighting higher ranked opponents is because he still gets the same salary. He still gets the same paycheck as if he fights somebody like a Chris Moutinho, who was unranked, who's making a UFC debut, as opposed to some, or even if he fought somebody of Rob Font, who was ranked number 2 and number 3 in the world in the bantamweight division. He's still gonna get paid the same salary. So why would he take that chance on fighting somebody more difficult as opposed to fighting somebody more easier and still coming out with 2 paychecks as opposed to 1? I totally understand that. There was a Twitter account that ended up tweeting, what should we do? Since Sean O Malley had made these comments, are there any possibilities on making different changes with the UFC? I made a suggestion that the UFC should put out there a wage, a salary wage, that if you're ranked from 15 to 10, you get a certain amount. From 9 to 6, you get a certain amount. From 5 to 1, you get a certain amount. And then obviously your pay increases each time you climb up the rankings. All right, and they're gonna incentivize you more on trying to fight higher ranked opponents as opposed to lower ranked opponents. That's the way to go. I don't see the UFC trying to do something like that, but it's a strong possibility. But getting back to what I was saying before, do I see this fight happening? I would love to see this fight happen. Do I see it happening more? I don't know. I mean, I can say it's more likely than not that we're going to see this fight happen just because of the fact that Sean O Malley had ended up calling out guys like Rob Font, called out guys like Cody Garbrandt and Peter Yan. All right, those are what's it called, fights that, who are higher ranked opponents who are going to be able to get you closer and closer towards the belt. And Frankie Edgar, he's inside the top 10, so if he's able to fight you, and you guys both agree upon it, then you're one step closer towards the belt. Me personally, I would have loved to see the Cody Garbrandt fight because he has a little bit of history. They were talking trash to one another, and in Cody Garbrandt's career, Cody Garbrandt is really can't say no to much fights. And if he was able to beat up on a guy like Sean O Malley, then Sean O Malley, it would be the type of opponent where it will get Cody back into the title mix, back into a spot where he wants to be at. But unfortunately, Cody Garbrandt's going to be fighting Kai Kara France in December. I can't remember if it was for a fight night or a pay-per-view, but he's making his debut at flyweight, fighting Kai Kara France. So that should be interesting. But I think Cody feels like it's an easier route for him to get a title shot at flyweight as opposed to bantamweight. It is. Bantamweight is very loaded. I think Cody Garbrandt may need to step down, but still, as a fight fan myself, would have definitely loved to see Sugar Sean O Malley versus Cody Garbrandt. But yeah, that's what I'm hearing. Ariel Helwani was the one that broke it. Look, when Ariel says something, 9 times out of 10, he's not blowing smoke out of proportion. Where there's smoke, there's fire, and there's a strong possibility that we might be able to see Frankie Edgar versus Sugar Sean O Malley. Now, tell me, guys, what you think about that. Who do you want to see the answer fight? Do you want to see Edgar fight somebody else? Do you want to see him fight Sean O Malley? Do you want him to fight Dominic Cruz? Who do you want O'Malley to face? I mean, there's the Marlon Chito Vera fight that everybody wants to see the rematch of. Should he fight Frankie Edgar? Should he hold off and try to fight somebody of a lower ranking, like a Ricky Simone, which I don't see that happening. But let me know what you guys think. Put in the comment section below. Till then, I'm Flavio Oriana, and thank you for tuning into Flavio Oriana's MMA show. I'm your host, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace, guys, and have a good one.